Hey guys, November 2025 real estate stats are in. We've got some numbers to share with you about the market activity on the Forgotten Coast. 57 homes sold in the month. So they went under contract maybe a prior month or during the month of November and closed in the month. 26 lots closed during the month as well. Now, the new buyer activity is what we look at as far as what went under contract. That's a new buyer activity, buyers looking and actually putting something under contract in the month. Key metric for every month. So during the month of November, 65 homes went under contract and 27 lots. Now, the new market activity as far as listings coming on the market, we had quite a few to replace that inventory of what sold and what was under contract. So 94 homes came on the market as new listings in the month of November. Those could have been homes that were on the market previously and then came off or off for a little period of time and came back on the market, or they could be just brand new listings. A little hard to pair that out, so we just use that number as new listings, 94 new home listings. And then 73 lots, quite a few lots coming on the market this month. Now to break it down a little further as to what was going on within each sub-market area of the Forgotten Coast. Starting at Mexico Beach, Port St. Joe, Cape San Blas, including Indian Pass, and then into Apalachicola, East Point, Eastern Franklin County, and St. George Island. All those are sub-market areas within that we break down a little bit more in here as to what activity is happening most within each of those areas. So within those homes that sold, Mexico Beach was a standout, accounting for nearly 37%. So 20 of the 54 homes that sold in November were in Mexico Beach. That's due in large part to the activity in Windmark Beach, which is part of the Mexico Beach subset there. That new D.R. Horton being the builder there, a lot of activity, it's always strong. So November was a good month for them as well. And then the lots the lots that sold in November, pretty evenly distributed throughout the whole market area. No one really stood out. Everyone kind of have an even amount of those lots distributed to them in this sales period. The other activity that we talk about, the under contracts, Port St. Joe, Mexico Beach, mild standouts in the home sales, not much above everybody else. Everyone kind of held their own in that category. But on the land side, Carabel was a standout. Almost 1/3 of the land that went under contract in November was in Carabel. So something going on there, be something to watch in the future. And also on the new listings, the new land listings, they accounted for half of those new listings. So a lot went under contract, replenishing that with more, so it's healthy. And then the homes, Mexico Beach stood out again as far as new listings, lots sold in there. Not new listings, and then they're actually replenishing that inventory. So with nearly 1/3 of those, and a lot of that being Windmark Beach as well. Other thing we talk about as far as market activity is how much inventory is out there, how much supply is out there. So right now we're looking at about 3 months of inventory throughout the year. Properties on the market, the average days on market is another factor we look at. Average days on the market is 141 days. That was of the homes that actually sold. So it's not a total days on market for everything, but the homes that actually sold were actually on the market about 141 days. And then there's about 3 months of inventory there. So it looks like there's a lot on the market, but as far as how much things sell versus how much is on the market, even throughout the year, it's still about that 30%, about 3 months absorption ratio, and about 3 months of inventory. So kind of gives you an idea about what's going on in every market area. There's a few standouts, but everyone's kind of holding their own. Mexico Beach, Carabel being standouts in certain categories of that. But to really drill down to what you're looking for your particular property, we got to go in a little more detail, because there's things that, if you don't meet that, if your property is listed now and you're above that 141 days, there's factors that can affect that. Price obviously is that how much competition you have for your area in your neighborhood, or your size of home, or your location, beachfront, interior, bayfront, golf course. All those things affect as far as what's the competition particular to you. Doesn't matter how much is in the whole market, is just who are you actually competing against. So that can vary as well. So price. The other thing, there's certain situations where financing can be an issue. Condominiums had some issues with that in the past, and with the new regulations on that, as far as their reserves and things like that, being able to qualify for financing, that can affect sales as well. And then obviously the condition of the property. If there's something particular about your property that is not up to par or it's above average, then you could be above that days on market, or you could be below it. So it's just an overall picture of the market. And the other thing we look at too in the market data as far as what sales look like is, what is that list to sale ratio? So that sale price compared to list price, and that being, historically on homes about the 94 to 96% of its sales for 94 to 96% of the list price. And so that's historical averages, and that's where we are right now. So, but that's for the homes. That says if your home is priced right, it's going to act like a normal market. If it's not, you're going to be the outlier and you're just going to be sitting on the market. So there's always exceptions to that based on those other factors I just covered as well. And then land is also trading just below that normal of around 92, 93%, around 91%. It's not a big change, but lots normally trade for a little more of a discount. And also the differences between land and home is that there's always a lot of cash activity, cash buyers in the lot market, and that's what showed up in November as well. Majority of those were cash. And then also on the home side, financing was a little more than 50% of the sales that took place. But to have just under 50% of cash transaction is a strong market. Interest rates coming down, I think we're going to see more financing coming back in, but opens up the market more. Our volume should increase, as we're all hopeful, with that quarter point interest rate. They were unsure right up to the day of the meeting whether that was going to happen or not. They're hinting about more. There's some really smart people that I'm not going to throw my hat and speculate on what's to happen, but I think we've got good things ahead for 2026. And again, if you have questions about what's affecting your property's value, what the outlook is for your property, whether it be in St. George Plantation, in Carabel, on the river, or anywhere in the North Gulf County for that matter, we can look at those details. We got all the data here. We can hone in on what the market outlook for yours is individually for 2026. So just reach out and we're glad to share that information. Take care and happy holidays.